Hey everyone, this is Julia and welcome back to Crocoblog channel. We are thrilled to present our new JetProductTables plugin. So in today's detailed overview, we're going to take a look at its settings and features. Trust me, this plugin is amazing. As always, if you're not subscribed to our channel, don't hesitate to do that. Now buckle up and let's get started. As the plugin's name goes, JetProductTables is a tool that allows you to showcase the list of WooCommerce products on the front end as a table. With this plugin, you can manage the table's content, set the columns and the products displayed in it, add the filters, and adjust the style of the table. Also, the adjusted content layout can be saved as a preset, and moreover, you can generate a shortcode with the table to use on any desired page. And using JetProductTables functionality, you can easily create comparison tables, pricing tables, product variations, even restaurant menus, and much more in conjunction with other Jet plugins. Once the plugin is installed and activated, its settings can be found in the WordPress dashboard, WooCommerce, Settings, Product Table Directory, or from the General Plugins page. Let's start with the columns. Here you can add desired columns to the table. So by default, there will be 6 columns: product ID, name, image, SKU, price, and buttons. Of course, you can always change the settings and order, or even delete the columns if needed. To add a new column, you needed to select the needed option from the list in this drop-down menu below the columns and simply press the Add Column button. Now, different columns will have different fields for customization. For example, if we unfold it, Product ID has a label, that is a label of the current column. Here, it is set to Product ID. The next option is Sortable. This toggle is inactive by default. What it does, when activated, it allows sorting by the current column on the front end. And we also have Value Format, a format of the column value. This field is already completed with String by default, which is a placeholder for the value. The Product Name column displays the name of the product in a separate column. Some of the settings are the same as in the previous column, like label, is a sortable option, and format. But then we also have this option called linked, activated by default. If left activated, the product name will be linked to the product page. The following product image column will contain the product image correspondingly. This tab includes the following settings. Of course, label, image size, where you can set it to thumbnail, medium, or large. Ability to link the product image to the product page, and what's new here is a custom size field that allows setting a custom image size. An SKU column will contain the product SKU. This tab includes the same settings as other columns. The price column also has identical settings, and the buttons column will contain product action buttons, like Add to Cart, Go to the product page, or the button Sending to the external page of third-party products. The Buttons tab has the following unique settings. Quantities, a toggle deactivated by default. If activated, it shows a quantity picker for each product. This feature can be used to select the number of products that will be added to the cart. And variations, a selector field where you can pick how to display the options for the variable products. Here you can add as many columns as needed by selecting the option from the drop-down list and clicking the Add Column button. The full description column includes this unique setting field, Description Length, where you can set the length of the product description. The Summary tab also has an almost identical setting field, but to set the length of the product summary. The Date tab has such settings. Date type, a type of date that will be shown in the column. Here you have two options, a publication date or a modification date, and date format, a PHP format of the displayed date. The Categories tab includes Linked, that is active by default. Here, if left activated, the title will be linked to the terms archive. Delimiter is basically a sign that will separate categories, and by default it is set to comma. The Tags tab has the already mentioned settings field. Linked toggle, activated by default, linking the title to the terms archive. What we also have here is the Custom Taxonomy Terms tab that has such fields for customization. Taxonomy, where you can choose a taxonomy terms of which will be displayed, and linked. If the following toggle is activated, the taxonomy term will be linked to its archive page. The Product Attributes tab has Attribute to Show setting for choosing an attribute that will be displayed, such as color, feature, size, length, etc. For the Rating/Reviews tab, you can customize the rating format, a format of the displayed WooCommerce rating. Initially, it is set to the default stars option. However, it can be changed to the number average rating view. The next Stock Status/Quantity, Weight, and Dimensions tabs include the mentioned settings, so there will be nothing new here. I'm gonna move on to the Product Meta tab. Here you can set a meta key of the value that you need to display and specify the type of the meta field. Among the available options are text, number, and date. We are done with the columns, and let's move on to the settings. This tab is responsible for the features of the table display on the front end. It includes two additional tabs that can be customized: General and Navigation. In the General tab, we have Direction, that is a table direction set to horizontal by default. If horizontal is selected, the content is displayed in rows, and if vertical is picked, the table becomes inverted and the products become columns, and the columns created in the Columns tab will be used as rows. Show Header toggle activated by default. When it is active, the column name is shown in the header. Sticky Header toggle deactivated by default. So once you activate it, the header becomes sticky, which means it stays on the top of the page when the page is scrolled. When the Show Footer toggle is active, the column name is shown in the footer. A mobile layout is the way how the column will be displayed on mobile devices. Here you can choose Movable. An option is set by default. If selected, the table on the front end will be displayed partially, but can be scrolled horizontally to see the rest of the columns. Shorten, an option that, if selected, leaves only several columns in the mobile device table. For this layout, columns to display on mobile devices should be picked additionally. So you should leave the most important columns that will be displayed correctly on mobile devices. All other functionality works as for desktop tables. This option is not sustainable for the vertical tables, as every product is a column. Transform is an option with which the content is transformed into a set of cards. Each card has the appearance of a vertical table, where the desktop columns become rows. The first column of this table is the name of the corresponding desktop column. The second column is its value. For this layout, the content is saved, the visual display is completely changed, and the sticky header and sorting stop working. The last option here is collapsed. This option is similar to the previous one, but it is more compact. By default, the user sees only the first column of each line, and by clicking on the plus icon, they can see the contents of the rest of the line. With this option, the header with the name of the first column is stored, so sorting can work for this column. And we have the lazy load toggle deactivated by default. When activated, the content will be loaded whenever the page is scrolled. Now, what's with the navigation section here? When the pager toggle is active, the pagination will be displayed on the page. Pager position lets you set the pagination position. The pagination can be put before the table, after, or before and after the table. If activated, the Load More button will appear below the table. Once the button is pressed, new products will be added after those already on the page. And there you will have one more setting to customize the label. Let's head to Filters. This tab allows adding the filters to the table. By default, filters are deactivated. To add the filters to the table, first of all you need to activate the Enable Filters toggle. Two filters will be added to the list by default: Taxonomy filter and the Search filter. These two also have their own settings. For example, Placeholder. Select Taxonomy drop-down menu where the available taxonomies are presented. Here, the needed taxonomy should be selected to be used as a filter source. Show Count. When activated, the number of products in the term is shown next to the filter option. The counter will show the total amount of items attached to the specific term and not only those displayed in the table. Hierarchical. When activated, the hierarchy of the taxonomy is preserved in the filter. The Search filter includes the following unique settings. Search on typing. When it is active, the search will be conducted when the user types in a request in the search bar. Minimum characters to start a search. That's a field where the minimal characters to start the search should be put. By default, it is set to 3. Show Search button is a toggle active by default. When deactivated, the search button will be hidden. And there is also the Search button label field, where you can change the search button label. To add one more filter, you should select its type in the selector below the fields and press the Add Filter button. Altogether, there are 3 filters available: the Taxonomy filter and Search filter that I just mentioned, and one more option becomes available, the Attributes filter, which, except for the general placeholder setting field, also has Select Attribute drop-down list, where the WooCommerce attributes are presented. The attribute selected here will be the source of the filters. Integration. In this tab, you can configure which standard WooCommerce locations you want to add their own tables to. Here are the following locations like shop page, product taxonomy, tags, variations in body, and so on. And you can always take a look at what activation of each toggle will do. Like the first one shows a table instead of the default product grid on the shop page. The product tags activation will show a table instead of the default product grid on the product tags archives, and so on. Here is my shop page and the product grid. Once I activate the shop page toggle, the product grid will be replaced with a table. And the same goes for the category and other options available in the Integration tab. Moreover, you can select different presets for different locations. And the last tab we have here is Design, responsible for the table's design. You can customize the table headings and content by changing the background and the text color, font size, weight and style, change alignment, add borders, and adjust the padding. In addition, there will be two unique settings in the Table Body tab. So you will be able to change the color of the links and set the alternate background color for the rows. And the last tab will allow adjusting the gap between the filters and active filters. As you can see, there is a lot in terms of customization. So each table element is fully customizable, allowing you to adjust everything depending on your needs. We are ready to move on to these last two buttons, and one of them is Presets Manager. A Presets Manager pop-up allows saving the current customizations as a preset to be later used for the needed locations in the Integration tab, Shortcode Generator pop-up, or the Product Table block. Initially, it has just one customization field that is called Save Current Settings State as a Preset, a field for the preset name. So once you enter it, you just click Save Preset button to add the current adjusted state of the settings as a preset. When the new preset is added, it can be edited or deleted with the help of the corresponding buttons. If the pencil button is pressed, additional preset settings are opened. These are presented in three tabs: Columns, Settings, and Filters. Here, the previously adjusted settings can be edited, the columns and filters can be deleted, or new ones can be added if it is needed. Last but not least is Shortcode Generator. I think that this one is one of the most powerful features of our new plugin. The Shortcode Generator pop-up allows you to generate a shortcode that can be later used in different locations. In short, you can use it anywhere. Firstly, let's take a look at these 5 tabs: Query, Columns, Settings, Filters, and Design. Starting with the first one, Query. In the Query Type field, you can specify the type of query used for the shortcode. Among the options are Products and Product Variations. Another thing I want to mention here is that the query settings will be different for different shortcodes and table blocks. If the Product Variations option is selected, the General tab will look different and it will include only one field, Get Variations From. This is a selector that allows you to pick the source of variations. By default, the variations are taken from the current product. This option can be used on the single page of the product to retrieve its variations. If the specific product IDs option is selected, you can specify the IDs of the products in the period field. And if the specific product SKUs option is selected, the SKUs should be added in the corresponding field. If the products option was selected as a query type, there will be 9 fields in the General section. Include is a field for the specific product IDs that will be included in the query. Several IDs put in the field are separated by commas. Exclude, vice versa, is a field for the specific product IDs that will be excluded from the query. The next one is Limit, a field for the maximum number of results to retrieve or maximum products per one page if navigation is enabled. Page is a field for the number of pages to retrieve. For instance, if the to value is put in the field, the table will be opened on the second page right away. Offset is a field that can be used to skip some of the products from the table. For example, if you put the 3 value in the field, 3 products will be skipped and the table will start from the 4th product. On the right side, we have Status of the product used for the query. Among the options are Draft, Pending Review, Private, and Published. The next one is Type, and among the options are Simple Product, Grouped Product, External/affiliate product, and a variable product. Order by is a field where the order of the displayed product can be picked. The products can be sorted by date, ID, name and type, put in the random order, or by the modification date. And the last one here is a sort in order. It can be set either to ascending or descending order. Let's proceed to the next tab called Product. It includes the customization fields of the product query like SKU, category ID, weight, height, sale price, visibility stock quantity, and so on. A date allows generating a shortcode based on the date connected with the product. Moving on to the Columns tab. It includes the default columns like in the main columns directory. They can be edited or deleted, and you can also add new columns if needed. You can also pick a preset in the corresponding field. Next is the Settings tab. Here the preset can be selected as well, and the two tabs are presented: General and Navigation. The General and the Navigation tabs include the same customization fields as the Settings tab, which can be found right here. In the following Filters tab, you can enable filters and adjust them like in the Global Filters directory. The Design tab does not contain any settings, although all the style adjustments can be made in the Global Design settings. So once you set up the table by adding the needed columns and adjusting the rest of the settings, you simply generate a shortcode and are ready to use your table anywhere. There are two ways to display tables. First, you can build a page with Gutenberg and use the product table block. It will pull the previously set table right away, and with the help of this button, or going to the block settings on the right side and pressing Setup Table, you can adjust what's needed. These are the same settings presented in the Generate Shortcode pop-up window. In my case, I'm disabling filters, and as you can see, changes are applied immediately. Here is how my table looks on the front end. Let's go back to the block editor and enable filters. Great! The table filtering and the searching work as well. The second option is using the Elementor and the generated shortcode. I will set my table a bit differently this time. Make it vertical and set up the query settings to include just these three products to make a comparison table. Basically, you open any existing or new page or template, add the shortcode widget, and insert the generated shortcode. The only difference here is that the widget functionality does not allow changing the table settings. Building responsive tables for WooCommerce products is not a problem anymore. JetProductTables plugin lets you create custom tables for different use cases, including variable products, easily manage data output, apply filtering and sorting options, and customize table styles with no limitations. Of course, in the future plugin versions, more features might be added, but for now, let us know what you liked most and what functionality you'd want to be added. All available documentation will be linked in the description under this video, so don't hesitate to check it out. This will be it for today's overview. Share your thoughts and questions. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and of course, make sure you are subscribed. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.